Hey everyone, I'm back. I just wanted to let you guys know what it is that I'm going to be trying to address in this video today. So basically, the topics I'm going to try to be covering are a little background about myself and some stuff about like my dreams and like occurrences that have happened to me before all of these really crazy, strange things, like more than usual crazy, strange things started happening for that series in 2015 of 7 months. And then again, like I explained in the other videos, this year. And then I'm just going to be telling you about a vision that I had many years ago about something that very big happened to our country. And also about a dream that I had, again, that was kind of really weird because it coincided with another incident that happened in our country, America. For those of you that aren't in America, I just wanted to first take a minute to thank everybody that has viewed the few videos that I did post thus far, and to thank anybody else that starts viewing. When everything's done at the end of this video, I would really appreciate it if you like and subscribe to me so that you can be basically kept up to date with all the things I'm going to be posting about my story. And this way I might actually be able to reach out to those people that have experienced this or going through this, because the main purpose of these is to really just try and not feel so alone in this world, not feel like I'm crazy, because of course, like, everybody that I talk to about this in real life is like, well, you know, you're just crazy. And that's just not really the case. YouTube has helped me to realize that, because there's obviously a lot of other people out there that have experienced the things I have in one way or another. Also, I just wanted to take a brief moment to say something I didn't get a chance to say in the other videos about a couple of the situations. Was one, the thing with Gallup. The reason why I found that very, very strange was because if you think about it, like 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, and here was this company, Gallup, calling me when I basically did have or come to an apocalypse, because the true meaning of apocalypse is like the unrevealing of all truth, or the lifting of the veils. Also, I wanted to say that the first voice that I heard in the shower with that white light, that was a woman's voice, as opposed to when I stepped out of the shower and I got that really booming male voice. And then I also wanted to add that my cousin, during our conversation, he also said something else that was very strange to me. Somewhere during the conversation, he was like, "So do you give up?" And I'm like, "What do you mean, do I give up?" He's like, "Do you give up?" And I'm like, that's kind of weird. I don't even understand that question in the context in the conversation. But he was like, "Because, you just got to get up every day and you got to go to work and, just live your life." And to me, it kind of was like, yeah, like the robot life, the thing that they want to feed down everybody's throat to make you believe that you're free. All right, so touching on that, now to get to the things that I had planned on addressing. For one, I just wanted to say that, first off, I have all my life pretty much had very, very vivid dreams that I can remember for years. Like, I remember dreams from when I was 6 years old, like, and a lot of them have been very, very vivid. Most of my dreams are either very scary or they're weird at, like, least. I don't really have happy dreams in my life. Always being pursued by something, or just having, like I said, very, very strange dreams. And this is important because a lot of the videos I'm going to be posting might actually reference dreams that I've had. Another thing is, I just wanted to touch on, I will talk more about this topic later, is I suffer from sleep paralysis. I've had many incidents of this, and although a lot of people report that they see shadow people during this, I have but only once, which I'll discuss on another date, had an incident where I seen shadow people. But I have, however, seen shadow people since I was very young. From the time I was 4, 5, and 6 in an apartment that me and my mother lived in. I would see shadow people in my waking hour. And this past year, there was an incident where I spotted a shadow person in my waking hour. So again, I will be touching more on those things, but I just wanted to kind of give you a background on those because they're kind of important about the two main things I wanted to get to today. And the one was, like I said, this had to do with something that occurred in America that was very drastic for almost every American that I have ever met or heard from. If it wasn't drastic to them, I just honestly, I don't even understand how it couldn't have been. But this touches on the Twin Towers. So let me just delve right into it. The situation was this. I was dating somebody. I was 21 years old at the time. And their daughter had visited up close to like where we live, and we had to bring her back. I remember it was a Sunday, back to Pennsylvania. She lived in Pennsylvania, and when we brought her there, we had taken one route coming from where we lived to get into Pennsylvania. On the way back, we had decided that we were going to come up the Jersey side. And coming up on the Jersey side, we were passing like the river and where the Twin Towers were. And I remember specifically saying to my boyfriend, can we pull over, please? Can we get out and look across at those? Because I haven't seen them in a long time. I actually visited them when I was younger. I used to live in the city of New York, and I was just like, I really, really would like to just stop and see them. I remember going there as a kid, and they used to have like amazing stuff in there in the like lower floors, like all this really like fun stuff for kids to do. And I remember one of the greatest things was when you first went in the entrance, they had these big giant rings. I mean, like they had to be like 5 feet tall, 5 feet wide, that you could dip into this bucket. There were metal rings, actually not a bucket, like a pan, almost like a giant pan. And when you took it out, you could literally make bubbles out of these rings. It was really amazing. So he's like, oh yeah, sure, great, let's do that. So we pulled over and we got out and we're looking across at these, and I was just like, they're so beautiful. And then all of a sudden, I just had this really quick flash, like nothing like darkening, nothing, no light or nothing, but a really quick flash of a vision. And I remember turning to him and saying, we're really lucky that back in, I believe it was 92 or 93, terrorists had tried to take those towers down prior. They actually put vans in the basement with really like big barrels of explosives, I guess. And for one reason or another, they were unsuccessful. So I turned to him and I was like, do you know how lucky we as American people and like all the people in that building and in the city and everything are that they didn't succeed in that, because it would have been horrible. And I explained the reason why I said that was because I was like, I just had a vision. Well, actually, I didn't even say that to him. I was like, it would have been horrible. Because, do you know, there would have been people literally on fire jumping from the highest floors in that building to get away from it. That's how horrible it would have been. Well, this was a Sunday, needless to say. 2 days later, Tuesday, 9/11, September 2001, those Twin Towers fell down. And sure as shit, there was people on fire jumping out of the higher floor windows, diving to get away from this, jumping to their deaths, because that was a better option to them than to actually be in those buildings and experiencing whatever they were experiencing. And I remember specifically, like, the day that it happened, a friend of mine came and she's banging on my door and she was like, do you know what's happening right now? We're being attacked. They're, like, bombing America. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So she's like, turn on the TV. It's on every channel. And I went and I turned on the TV and there it was. And later that day when I see my boyfriend when he's done work, he just looked at me, and he had already known that I was sensitive to things and things. He knew a lot of the background that I'll explain to you guys later, but he was just like, you're like starting to scare me a little bit. Like, is this for real? And I'm like, yeah, this is for real. This is what I experienced. It's for real. Okay, so I'm sorry, I just had to pause for a moment there because I just get really, really emotional about certain things. I'm sorry I keep saying again, please bear with me. This is my third video to date. I really do hope, there goes again, but I really do hope that you guys are enjoying my story. I really hope that anybody who has experienced anything like what I'm describing would please make comments down below. Please feel free to share your story. I really, really need to feel like I'm not the only one in this, because this is, after this year, it just seems like it's becoming like a whole lot. And I know people like are talking about like end of times and stuff, and I hate to like be on board with that because I have kids in this world, but I'm just really starting to wonder, like, I think, I'm sorry guys, I really do think that, you know, something, excuse me one moment, but something, if it's not the end of days, then it's definitely marking something. Okay, so bear with me, one more pause. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that again. Okay, so like I was basically saying, yeah guys, I think it's time that people start really trying to reach out to each other. I think it's crucial if you have loved ones in your life, or anybody you haven't spoken to in a long time. It's probably a good time to do that. It's always a good time to try and make amends, but just like what I feel is going on, I don't know what comes. Nobody knows the hour, the time. Nobody knows that. Nobody knows. And some people don't believe in that specific scenario, but I just feel like there's something definitely going on, and everybody should just take the time to really appreciate what they have in life. Love those around them, because you just never really know. With that said, I'm going to move on to the next topic of a dream, which also coincided very specifically. I don't really know the days or the day, like from the time I had the dream to when the incident occurred, other than to say that it was somewhere within a 7-day period. I know that much. So basically it went like this. It begun, I went to sleep this one night, and I first fell into a sleep paralysis where I started having audio hallucinations, and just I get this really weird, like, drawn out sound. I can't really explain it. If I happen to come across it and find it, I will post it so that people can understand what it is that I'm hearing. And I also get like this really bad like scratching noise at the sides of my bed when I'm in a sleep paralysis that I hear, that it really spooks me out, to the point that there's been times I've told my boyfriend, like, I really feel like there's something on the side of the bed gonna just pull me off when I go through these things. So I had fallen into one of these, and it was just really devastating because I just had that long, like, sounds going, like I can't, like, if my boyfriend was here, actually, he'd probably do it for me, like, if I just explained, because he's like the human beatbox. But it was like that, and I don't know how long I was in it, but I finally got myself out of it, and I stayed up for like maybe half hour or so. I was trying to stay up as long as possible. I was afraid to fall back into one, and I was watching TV or whatever, and then before I know it, I was literally being rocketed out of my dream, hysterical crying, to the point that I wake up my boyfriend, because it was just a devastating dream to me. So here goes. It begun from what my memory is of me being in what seemed to be some kind of locker room or gym bathroom. And when I was in there, I automatically, like, I had the feeling of, oh my God, I have to hide. I'm being pursued. So I got into a bathroom stall, and I remember I was getting up on the toilet, and I was just there and just saying, oh my God, you cannot breathe. Don't breathe. Don't make a peep. And there was another person in there, a female, and she was crying and like sobbing, and I'm like, you have to be quiet. And she was just like, he's gonna find us, he's gonna find us. And I heard all this like clutter outside of what this bathroom was, like stuff slamming and stuff, like someone was pursuing me. And then the next thing I know, like, it got quiet, and I remember saying to the girl, all right, I think it's clear, we can get out of here. So I came out of the stall, and I remember stepping out into what was like a big pool area. And I came out of that area into a hallway, at what point the girl was behind me. And all of a sudden, I changed from being myself into being someone else. And running down a totally different hallway and saying, there's people, like a few other people coming in, they were like, we got to get out now. And like, I just knew that whatever it was, we were being pursued by someone that was trying to kill us. So the next thing I know, all of a sudden, this door swings open, and here comes this man holding a gun. And I halted, like literally stopped from where I was running, and I halted, and I remember like it was almost like I was getting ready to slide on the floor. And he went to like point the gun, and I was like, and now this is so typically me, I was just like, no, this is not going to happen. I'm not going down. I'm not getting shot. Just laying here or just stopping and just letting him shoot me. So I went to try and wrestle with him for this big, like, it looked like some kind of black, like, gun with, like, something that I know he had to, like, pull back the thing to, like, make a shot. Maybe shotgun. I'm not really too familiar with what types of guns, but I've seen them in movies and stuff, and that's how I can describe it. And the minute that I did that, all of a sudden, I transformed again, and I all of a sudden became this gunman. And that lasted for like a few seconds, wrestling, and then I transformed back into myself, because remember, like, when I first started wrestling him, I wasn't myself. I was already at that point transformed into someone else. So after that point, and where I became that person, from like their point of view, I then was back into my regular normal self. And he kind of got up and grabbed his gun and scurried away. At what point, I know, like, a herd of people, I want to say like maybe 20 or so people, it would seem, in my, perspective of the dream, they grabbed me up off the floor, and they were like, we have to evacuate right now. We have to evacuate right now. And then the next thing I know, like, I don't know how I got there. I just remembered it was like being teleported or transported. We were all standing outside of what became obvious at this point to me now was a school. And in a long driveway that reminded me of where buses would line up to, like, pick up the children. And we're all just standing there, like, hands at side, almost like we were lined up for some reason, in rows. Like, I would want to say there was, like, maybe 4 rows of us lined up, from, like, one standing in the front, like, going back. And it wasn't just the 20 people that I had, like, seen coming at me telling me we have to get out, but there was a lot of people out there. And then the next thing, all I could hear was a bunch of gunshots and just a bunch of children just screaming. Just like the most horrifying dream. And I've had some really, really bad dreams. This dream was so terrifying to me, just hearing these babies, just all ages, just screaming, and just this boom, boom of this gun, and then stop, and then boom, boom. And at that point, like, I couldn't, my psyche just, I guess, couldn't take it, because I woke up, like, stunned. Tears were, like, pouring out of my face, and I just had to wake him up, because I felt, like, not at rest, like, just did not want to go back to sleep. I was petrified. And then, like, I guess I got comforted, whatever, went back to sleep. Went on with the course of my life until, like I said, somewhere within a 7-day period. At this point in my life, I had been watching a lot of news, which was not good for my health because it was just making me really angry and depressed. But I turn on the news and sure as shit, again, here comes this, and I'm just like, as devastated again. Here's the news talking about all these kids got shot in Sandy Hook Elementary School in Connecticut. And it was like, at that point in my life, like, at least there was distance between, like, the things that were happening with me. So it wasn't too much. It was a lot, don't get me wrong, to experience things like that. But it wasn't to the point where I really thought I'm just going completely crazy. And like I said, I've been dealing with things like this pretty much my whole life. But the thing that makes me start making these videos now and explaining these things is the fact that just have to breathe for a moment. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to be emotional. I've talked about these things before, and I thought I've mourned over some of this stuff better than this, but it's hard. It's hard if you seen or understood. Then you just have to go through it to understand how hurtful that is, to just see stuff like that in your head. I'm really sorry about that, but I'm just gonna wrap this up pretty much and just say that basically what the difference was when 2015 came, it was 7 months, if not more, but like a real hard 7 months of just going through just all of this stuff. And I heard other people come out and talk about stuff. I started watching videos, and it just made me realize that it's time for me to come forth with my story. Real quick, please, if you enjoy this, like and subscribe. I just want to touch on, in my next video, I'm going to be trying to touch on these things. Bear with me, I had to write it down so I can remember. There's been so much stuff, but I had an incident happen where I had this really crazy vision involving a blue triangle, and I had this other incident where I had a case of what I've come now to know as exploding head syndrome. So I'm going to be discussing those, and also an incident of some stuff that came across my phone one morning during these things that was really strange. And this other woman talks about this particular thing, as well as these trumpeting sounds that I heard. Oh wow, I can't believe that. I can't even think of the channel at this point, but Changing Matrix is the name of the channel and the woman, and she experienced quite a bit of the same exact things that I have. Another guy is United and Awake. He's gone through some of this too. So if you check out those channels too, if you're interested in this or been someone who has experienced anything crazy like this, that a lot of people are calling either spiritual awakening or otherwise Mandela effect. Excuse me for one moment. I'm sorry about that. But I am but human, and this is really sensitive stuff to me. I really do, again, thank everybody for watching this. If you are anybody that suffers from any of this, my heart just really goes out to you, and I just really appreciate it if I could hear back from you. Input. Let me know your story. We're not alone. We're just not alone. Thanks, guys. Peace. Talk to you later.